Welcome, I'm Denman, and today we're going to be reading Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose. Up at Lake Winnebago, the far northern shore, lives a huge herd of moose, about 60 or more. And they all go around in the big, happy bunch, looking for nice, tender moose moss to munch. Up at Lake Winnebago, one day they were lunching, just strolling along and enjoying their munching, for the moose moss that day was especially fine. When it happened that Thidwick, the last moose in line, saw a bingle bug sitting. The bug called out, "Hey, it's such a long road. It's such a hot day. Would you mind if I rode on your horns for a way?" "Of course not," smiled Thidwick, the big-hearted moose. I'm happy that my antlers can be of some use. There was room to spare, and I'm happy to share. Be my guest, and I hope that you're comfortable there. So the bingle bug picked out a nice, easy seat, and the moose went on looking for the moose moss to eat. Well, an hour or later so, a bug heard a squeak, and he heard a small voice of a tree spider speak. Said the spider, "You have a fine place." That moose seemed quite friendly and has such a nice face. "If I got on you too, would you mind?" "Hop aboard," laughed the bug. "And I think that you'll find that the moose won't object. He's big-hearted and kind." "I accept," said the spider. With joy and delight, he started a web on the horn to the right. While the spider was spinning, he heard a gay song, and a fresh little zinner bird came along. And he stopped, and he started, and he chirped, well, well, well. It's a smart place to build a great dwell. I've been living on trees since I was born, but here's something new. I want to live on a horn. If there's room for two more, there's plenty of room," laughed the bug. "It's free." Thidwick stopped walking. Was that all talking? I guess these guests have caught Thidwick the moose unaware. "Hey," he called out, "what's going on upstairs?" So there's the bird, and he's like, "Whoa!" "Just building a nest, sir," the Zinawoo said, and he began yanking hairs out of poor Thidwick's head, and he plucked out exactly 204. "Don't worry," he laughed, "you can always grow more." He dozed off to sleep in his fine moose hair. "This bird," murmured Thidwick, "is sort of a pest, but I'm a good sport, so I'll just let him rest. For a host all above must be nice to his guest." "Besides, now it's getting quite late in the day. I'm surely tomorrow they'll all go away." But alas, the next morning the sun's early light brought to Thidwick's sad eyes and the most unwelcome sight. "Meet my wife," said the bird. "I married last night, and perhaps, by the way, I should mention to you that her uncle is coming to live with us too. You're such a fine host, so I knew you'd be willing." Then the uncle, a woodpecker, started drilling. All Thidwick's friends shouted, "Get rid of those pests." "I would, but I can't." "I stopped poor Thidwick, their guest." "Yes, indeed," his friends answered, and all of them frowned. "If those are guests, we don't want you around. You can't stay with us, because you just not our sort." And they turned their backs and walked off with a snort. Now the big friendless moose walked alone with 4 great big woodpecker holes in his horns. "What holes?" whispered Herman the squirrel. He spied eyes. "That's holes that I'll hide my nuts in." Mind if I try?" "They're yours," called the woodpecker. "Get right in 'em. This big-hearted moose runs a public hotel. Bring your nuts, bring your wife, bring your children as well." So the whole family of squirrels all jumped in on pell-mell. And the very next thing the poor animal knew, a bobcat and a turtle were living there too. Now, what was the big-hearted moose to do? Well, what would you do if it happened to you? You couldn't say squat, because that wouldn't be right. You couldn't shout scram, because that isn't polite. A host has put up with all kinds of pests. For a host all above must be nice to his guests. So you try hard to smile and you try to look sweet. You can go right on looking for mouse moss to eat. Oh, he's got quite a lot of animals on there, and he's looking sadder than ever. But now it was winter, and that wasn't easy for moose moss. Gets scarce when the weather gets freezy. The food will be all soon gone on the cold northern shore of Lake Winnebago. There was just no more. All of Thidwick's friends swam away in a bunch to the south of the lake, where the moose moss is still good to munch. He watched the herd leaving, and then Thidwick knew he'd starve if he stayed here. He'd have to go too. He stopped in the water, then, oh what a fuss. "Stop," screamed the guest. "We can't do this to us. These horns are our home, and you got no right to take our home to a far distant side of the lake. Be fair," Thidwick begged, with a lump in his throat. "We're fair," said the bug. "We decided this by a vote. All those in favor are going to say A, and all those in favor say nay." "A," shouted Thidwick. But when he was done, all the other creatures on his horns said, "No way, son, we're staying." "We win," screamed the guest, "by a large score." And poor, starving Thidwick climbed back on the shore. "Then do you know what these pests did?" they asked, and some more. They asked in a fox who jumped from the trees. They asked in the mice, and then they asked in some fleas. They asked in a big bear, and then, if you please, it came a swarm of 362 bees. Poor Thidwick sank down with a groan to his knees, and then came something that made his heart freeze. Bullets came zinging right past Thidwick's face. Guns were ding-banging all over the place. "Get that moose! Get that moose!" Thidwick heard the voice call, fire again, and shoot straight one and all. We must get his head for the Harvard Club wall. Thidwick took his heels with that load on his head. With 500 pounds on his horns, the moose fled. He could have run faster with all those pests, or without all those pests, but the host above must be nice to his guests. Up canyon, off cliff, over rocky trails with bullets bouncing, banging off him like hail. Up gully through the gulch, up down the slippery sluice, with the hard-hearted guests running, raced the soft-hearted moose. Then finally they had him because of those pests. He had run out of luck because of those guests on his horns. He was stuck. He gasped we felt faint and the whole world grew fuzzy. Thidwick was finished completely, or was he? Finished, not Thidwick decided not. It's true he was in the most terrible spot, but now he remembered a thing that he forgot. A wonderful something that happens each year to the horns of each moose and the horns of all deer. Today was that day, Thidwick happened to know, or was happy to know. That old horns came off so new ones could grow. And he called to the pest on his horns as he threw them. They wanted my horns, so now you're quite welcome to them. Keep them, they're yours. As for me, I shall take myself far distant to the far distant side of the lake. And he swam Winnebago and found his old bunch. And he arrived just in time for a wonderful lunch at the south side of the lake, where there's moose to munch. His old horns today are where you knew they would be. His guests are still on them, all stuffed as they should be. I've been Denman. Like, comment, subscribe to the Denman Army. Peace out and have a good rest of your day.